Hello everyone and welcome to the Excellecore Real Estate channel. We're going to start this first video off with don't do it like Jeremy did it. And what do I mean by that? So I'm going to take you back. The year was 2005. And for those of you that remember, real estate was going crazy. Prices were going up year over year over year. It was like gangbusters in real estate. I was becoming a brand spanking new agent in 2005. In fact, I got my license at the very end of 2005. And I was watching the real estate market, and I actually thought to myself, I'm never going to be able to get my family into just a general 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in the state of Florida because the prices are going to be so high I won't be able to afford them. And so I made a decision out of fear to try to get into a home. And one of the ways that I was led by the particular mortgage person at the time was to get into what's called a negative amortizing mortgage. And for those of you that are in the mortgage industry, or for those of you that know mortgages, you probably just cringed at that, and rightly so. So let me explain to you what a negative amortizing mortgage is. So in a traditional mortgage, you pay the principal and the interest and your taxes and your insurance, and over time, usually about 30 years, you end up paying the home off. But then there's another thing called an interest-only mortgage where you don't pay any of the principal. So the principal never goes down. So whatever you start with at the beginning is what you end with at the end. You still owe the same amount of principal, but you just paid the interest over the course of the loan. Well, that's not even what a negative amortizing mortgage is. A negative amortizing mortgage is you don't even pay all the interest. So what do they do with that leftover interest? They actually tack it back to the principal. And you're saying, Jeremy, how could you be so dumb? Yeah, it was dumb, and it was also fear. I said, this is the only way that I can get my family into a home. So I made a move out of fear, and I didn't have a guide. I didn't have somebody telling me, Jeremy, this is really not a good decision. In fact, a lot of people at that time were saying it was a very good decision because the market just kept going up and going up and going up. With the thought process, well, you'll be able to sell in 5 years and even capture some equity, and the whole time you've had a lower payment. Well, as we all know what happened in the real estate market in the coming years, the market just fell out. It really tanked. But I was still in that mortgage. And so the interest just kept tacking on to the principal, Well, they don't allow that interest just to keep going indefinitely. So eventually they started to call the loan due. And at the time, my principal amount in the house had ballooned to over $300,000. And this was an amount that at the time I could not afford. And so I ended up having to, my home actually was foreclosed on. Now, I didn't do a strategic default. I actually liquidated my IRA, my 401k, and lastly, my kid's college fund. Now, that really, really, really hurt because I felt like I was ahead of the game. And but I tried to keep the house up, and I just couldn't do it, and the bank ended up foreclosing. And then once the property was foreclosed on, it was resold as a foreclosed property. And it was a move-in ready home. We took care of our house. It was a move-in ready home, and I followed it on the market because I was a real estate agent, and I saw that house that had a balance of over $300,000 sold move-in ready for $150,000, half of what the balance was. And so I look back over the course of that, and several things that I took away from that. Recovering from that took a very long time. Obviously, it affected my credit, affected my ability to go buy another home. But 3 things that I really took away from, and really is the purpose for this channel, is don't make decisions out of fear. Don't make decisions out of fear. Make it from an informed perspective. And so one of the things that I want to make sure is that through this channel, you are as informed as I possibly can get you. Now, I don't know everything about everything in real estate, but I have been there over the course of 13 years as of this video. And I do know a few things. And I would rather you just ask what you might think to be a stupid question, but realistically could be the question that saves you just absolute years of heartache. If I would have asked the right questions, I would have never gotten into a negative amortizing mortgage. And then lastly, I want to make sure that you have a trusted guide. If I would have just had someone come alongside me and say, Jeremy, this is probably not a good decision, someone that I actually trusted, that wasn't after the deal or the dollar, but they actually cared about me and my family, I probably wouldn't have made that decision, and I could have foregone nearly a decade of heartache. So realistically, with this channel, I want to do 3 things. I want to help alleviate the fear. Number 1, I don't want there to be fear amongst buying real estate or selling real estate, and I want you to be fully informed so a lot of that fear can come away. The more that you know, it's just a whole lot easier to operate because you can have some level of wisdom, some level of experience, at least at worst case scenario, an educated guess on a situation, but I want to educate you as best I can. And then thirdly, I want to be a trusted guide. I want to be able to come and know that I want you to be able to know that I'm not after the dollar, but I actually do care about you and your family. And so I want to be a trusted guide. But again, I want this channel to do those three things. Take away the fear. Let's inform you as best we possibly can. And I want to be a trusted guide for you. So thanks for listening to this video. There's more to come, and we will tackle some different issues on more of a micro scale. And if there are things that you want to hear about, things that you have questions on, please comment down below. And it'd be really appreciated if you would subscribe to the video, share it with your friends. I'd love to help them. I'd love to help your family members. But again, excellence is at the core of who we are because we are Excellecore. Thanks so much.